This and that and what the fuck else, episode 112. This is the first episode for the new year 2023, and I want to take the opportunity to thank you all for your support. I really appreciate it, and it is nice to see that there are people that like what I'm doing. I also thank you a lot for your comments, for those that comment. It means a lot. And then, as I've said previously, the channel is being kept under the blanket by YouTube for the simple reason that it is pro-Russian, and the mainstream doesn't like that. But that is how it is, and that is how I will operate. And those are the conditions under which I have to operate. I can't do much about it. Maybe what Musk is doing at Twitter will inspire the other social pages to get their act together. An interesting thing that I noted earlier today is that Facebook is apparently planning to bring Trump back. That would be something. But that it is. I don't know what the new year is going to bring. It will be obviously full of surprises. Here in South Africa, things are looking dark, to say the least. And practical terms, it is also dark because Eskom is struggling. I just saw a snippet where Eskom has apparently applied for a diesel wholesaler's license, and the Department of Energy and Mineral Affairs has rejected it. I have to ask why? Why the fuck? But most probably there's some cadres that are selling their diesel, they're selling the diesel to Eskom, and that must be protected at all costs. Now, these things are happening in the Ukraine. That is good for the Ukraine, and it's also not good for the West. And tonight I'm going to talk about the UK and mostly about the US. I don't know what is going on. Things are happening there that doesn't make sense to me. And I cannot understand why the US, the American citizens are tolerating it. So let's kick this one off with something for the guys. As usual, a photograph. And somebody asked me about this shot and asked me what my comments would be on it. Now, if you look at that shot, just first glance, it's a sexy shot, and in a photographic competition you would expect this to be under either boudoir or glamour, but the reality is that this is a sexy shot, and it is a beautiful model. The picture is cropped well, the lighting is good, technically it is excellent. But for me, if I was the judge and this was entered into a competition, I would score it 6 out of 10 for the simple reason that panty around her calves, what the fuck is that for? Why? That's a cheap attempt to push that image into the erotic category. But that's my opinion. And then we get to the green stuff. This is not really green. This is a tongue-in-the-cheek green. General Surovikin, or General Armageddon, as the Western press has baptized him, Environmental Activist of the Year Award. He reduced the Ukraine's carbon emissions by 80%. What can I say? Always a joke somewhere. And then we get to the UK, and I am really not stunned, not surprised, actually intrigued at what is happening in the UK. There was predictions last year that said that by the end of 2022 the UK will be a third world, and a lot of people got very angry about that. But let's look at it again. Third world, what is typically a third world? Point number one, not enough housing. Point number 2, not enough health care. Point number 3, not enough job opportunities. Point number 4, bankrupt state. Think about that. That is what's going on in the UK. So they are a third world, and then they've got that immigrant problem that is now totally out of hand. And I have seen some ridiculous things around that. And then look at this one. Police are creating this problem. If a Christian woman can be arrested for praying silently, how come the police don't arrest people who pray and obstruct a public footpath? The perception of two-tier policing is inflaming community tensions. And the poster says one law for us, but an entirely different one for them. And that is true. And I just saw a post that apparently a court in Germany has ruled that the Sharia courts is not illegal. What the hell is that? And still in the UK. Investors fleeing the UK equity funds. UK stocks suffered record annual outflows in 2022 as investor confidence in the country's economy is waning, Bloomberg reported. Statistics show that some $26.3 billion has been withdrawn. So far, it's the 7th year in a row that investors have been turning away from UK markets. The onset of a recession, inflation at a 41-year high, 2 prime ministers resigning, and the highest number of strikes since the 1980s helped trigger sell-offs in domestic stocks and the pound. All that has resulted in London losing its crown to Paris as Europe's biggest stock market. Guys, this is important to take note of. The UK is collapsing. And then we get this. British people believe 20% of population is black. It is 3%. 15% is Muslim. It's 4%. 5% transgender. It's 0.6%. 15% gay and lesbian. It's 1.8%. 20% of the country is vegan or vegetarian. 4%. Encouraging you to believe the minority are taken over is a divisive agenda. Now, all I'm going to say about this is I've seen statistics from other sources that completely contradicts what this guy is saying. Plus, the statistics that I saw from the British Department of Education or something, only 34% of the pupils in the schools in public schools in Britain is white British children. The rest is immigrants. Now, how the hell can a 4% and a 3%, that is 7%, how can 7% of the population represent 66% of the children in the schools? So this guy is most probably talking nonsense. And then you have this. UK shoppers rush to buy energy efficient appliances to keep bills down. Consumers switch to air fryers and heat pumps, tumble dryers in response to the cost of living crisis. Now, I don't know how much that is going to help them, but they are totally brainwashed. Their government is bullshitting them, but they're taking the pills. And then we get to the US, and you look at this cartoon. On that burger there's child porn, Biden corruption, FBI abuse, shadow banning and cancelling conservatives, woke government politics, election concerns, silent, and then there's a lot of things there at the bottom about the pestilence. And this Democrat says it's a nothing burger. And that is exactly why they are in the shit that they are. Because serious stuff is enough. And another cartoon. And you can see the 3 people walking there. It's that little twit that has now been fired from the White House. He was in charge of nuclear waste, and that's the guy that is stealing people's luggage from the airports. And then you've got this guy from FTX, and he is towing a bag with billions of dollars in. And then you've got Joe. Brandon is pulling the wagon with the election on it. And look at their words. FTX reckons if you're gonna steal something, make it big. And he points at that little twit with the luggage. And then look at Brandon's words. You are both amateurs. I don't know when that is going to end. And then we get this, and this is quite disturbing, and I cannot understand that information like this comes out and is available, but there's no action. Epstein victim vows to release a videotape showing VIP elites raping and murdering children. One of Jeffrey Epstein's child sex trafficking victims has told the court that she made copies of tapes showing VIP elites raping children. Well, let's see what happens there. But it will most probably be wiped under the carpet the same way as the Biden laptop has landed under the blankets until Elon Musk got hold of it. Then we have this Jaber font posted, and with his gay flag and all. If socialism, communism is so bad, why not just let them fall, collapse on its own? Why put the sanctions, take out their democratically elected leaders via CIA and place blockades on them? And then there's Jeffrey Young answers. Imposing economic sanctions, overthrowing other countries' democratically elected leaders and blockading other countries are all illegal. The US has been the worst violator of international law since the UN Charter was ratified in 1945. All US presidents are war criminals. And that is so true. I don't know how the Americans are going to adapt to their new position on this globe, because the rest of the world has had it with their shit. And then we get to the border. Texas City declares a state of emergency over the border crisis. El Paso Mayor Oscar Leeser has declared a state of emergency due to the surge of unlawful border crossings ahead of the impending closure of Title 42 legislation, admitting he may need to use a nearby military base to house the overflow on his city streets. Our asylum seekers are not safe, said Leeser at a press conference to announce the measure. We have hundreds and hundreds on the street, and that's not the way we treat our people. Adding he had expected $6 million in federal funding to help tackle the crisis even before declaring a state of emergency. Public data shows that 80,000, around 12% of the city's entire population, have crossed in the last 4 months, while the past week alone has seen 2,400 per day, marking a 40% increase over October figures. And yet, they just keep on going. And here's another image. Look at that image. Look at that. What the hell is going on there? Why can America not secure its own border? But yes, they want to be in the Ukraine and stir shit there. For what? There's money there. Then we have this. The US urges China's loan transparency for African nations. The US intends to strive for more transparency around the terms of Beijing's lendings to African nations as they struggle to free themselves from the communist regime's debt trap. And this is, once again, a lot of crap that they are using in their propaganda against China. All of a sudden they are concerned about the money that China is lending to the African states. And what about the funds that the fucking Americans are pumping into terrorist groups in Africa? Support of uprisings, all of that. Why are they not transparent with that? And there's another one. Biden task force investigating how US tech ends up in Iranian attack drones used against Ukraine. The White House is urgently investigating how US components got into Iranian drones and used in Ukraine. It has been known for a long time Russia exported thousands of washing machines and vacuum cleaners from Ukraine, scooped up chips from there and put them into drones. What else is there to investigate? What the fuck is that? And can you remember that crazy Ursula in Brussels when she said the Russians are stripping chips out of washing machines and fridges to build, put in their aeroplanes and in missiles? The madness does not go in. And then you have this one. And this should be very disturbing to every American patriot. This is disturbing. Two well-heeled servants of the oligarchy empire holding up the flag of a puppet regime that they illegally and murderously installed and whose people are suffering enormous losses. For them, the Ukrainians are expendable geopolitical pawns. And that is all true that he says there, but the fucking reality is these people are holding up a Ukrainian flag in the American house. What the hell is that? And then this guy makes this tweet. For any members of Congress who refuse to clap for Zelensky, we need to know from them exactly why. How the hell is that? And then here is that famous bill that Zelensky had to come and help the Democrats to push through. The 1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill gives 2.5 million to each member of Congress for home security and gives 45 billion to Ukraine for their security, but neglect to secure our borders. Passing this bill will destroy America. And then on the image there it says, reminder to Congress, you are elected to serve America, not Ukraine. But they don't listen to that. And then we have this meme. US taxpayer dollars are being laundered through Lockheed, Raytheon, Northrop and Boeing, while homeless Americans freeze to death this Christmas weekend. When is the American people going to wake up? And then from guerrilla warfare. Do you think it's Zelensky's fault our politicians in Congress are a bunch of self-serving asswipes who would rather squander our money abroad and on themselves than put America first? And that's a valid question. It's not Zelensky's fault. Zelensky is a tool used by these people to get their hands on the money. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene, this girl doesn't pull the punches. Of course the shadow president has to come to Congress and explain why he needs billions of Americans' taxpayer dollars for the 51st state, Ukraine. This is absurd. Put America first. And let's see, the new Congress must now come in. Let's see what's going to happen. And then we get this from Garland Nixon, and he is really extremely vocal about his objection to what is going on in America. Breaking news. White House insider leak that GOP leaders have agreed to the Fuck America bill. This bipartisan legislation will literally snatch the food from poor American children's mouths and ship it to a swastika tattooed goose-stepping Nazis in Ukraine. Crudely stated, but very true. And we see in the news lately that the Americans are getting resistance from many countries, and in Africa especially it is becoming quite apparent that the Americans are not so welcome here anymore. And then this guy made this tweet. There are at least 36 code-named US military operations going on across Africa. That's more operations than the US has in any other region anywhere in the world. What the hell is the Americans doing here in Africa? And yeah, the chances are damn good they're going to run into a clash with the Wagner group from Russia. And then I like this guy, Cato the Younger. He comes out with some very good tweets from time to time. As a geopolitics poster, US calls on Iran to release all protesters in the country without any conditions. State Department spokesman Ned Price. And then this ook sê, Iran calls on the US to release the January 6 protesters. Can you imagine that? And then we get to that what the fuck moment. And I have used this one, not this one specifically, but these characters. Imagine being this beautiful and lose to a beauty contest to this man. And what the fuck is that? It makes me sick, these things. And some bloody court somewhere is now, and I can't remember if it's in London, said there's no real reason why a transgender man cannot compete in women's sport. What the hell is gone wrong? But this is the world we live in. And the media is pushing this transgender agenda. Those people are they are less than, I think they're around 2% of the population. But fuck, if you look at the media, you would think they are 98% of them. And the attack on children, to me, is totally unacceptable. But that's what it is. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thanks for your support.